And that's where Head Start came from. It was organized by the Panthers and taken over by the federal government. So you can see why feeding children means you have healthy brains. Healthy brains mean children can understand and become critical thinkers and question what's going on.
Right. I have a question, and if either of you do not feel comfortable answering the question, then I totally understand. But I have to answer the question, and it's more rhetorical for me. Now, you mentioned these church groups have these social committees and things of that nature, and that they need to be bringing this to, these brothers and sisters cases to the attention of their members, church members and stuff like that. Has at any time Jericho or anybody within the political prisoner family tried to reach out and get assistance from the NAACP? Because again, I think it was you, Sister Tekla, who mentioned, civil rights issues. And, I have been in contact with members of the NAACP. Some of them do listen to the program, more or less to see what I'm talking about, or if I'm exposing them for not doing what they supposed to be doing in one of the communities or several communities across the nation. But has there ever been an attempt that either of you know of to get assistance from the NAACP to advocate on the behalf of these brothers and sisters?
I have an answer. Do you want to go for it, Paulette, or do you want me to?
I was just going to say, the one that's the case is the one in New York where around Mumia they expelled them because they did not want to have this controversy within the NAACP. Now, different chapters have taken different positions, and at different points, leadership within that organization has been positive, but as far as an overall perspective, to actually accept the premise that there are political prisoners in this country, no, they have not been very progressive.
Okay. Sister Tekla, did you want to add anything?
I think that's a very good answer, and I really want to thank you, Brother Scotty Reed, Sister Marpessa, and Sister Whitlock for allowing us to discuss this, because these types of things there's not often a forum where you can discuss them, and I really appreciate this, as I know Paulette does and the rest of the Jericho family. But I will say that in Nebraska, yes, I actually, when I was a young person, I joined the NAACP in Lincoln, Nebraska, and in Omaha to try to bring this issue of Mondo and Ed forward, and it was eventually it took a few years. After a few years, the local group did take on Mondo, and Leola Bullock took on Mondo and Ed as one of their primary justice issues. But that was for Nebraska. As far as getting the national to do it, no such luck, and it hasn't happened. But I will say this: the stakes have gotten higher because of the prison industrial complex, the mass incarceration of our people. I see the political prisoners as on a spectrum, or a line that continues right into the prison industrial complex and the mass incarceration of African people. And so until we, recognize, we can continue to pretend like these things aren't happening, but until we recognize that this was fought back in the 60s, and there are still people who are suffering and languishing in prison because of that. If we don't recognize them, how are we going to recognize that we're going to continue to be locked up at this kind of a rate, the rates that far exceed the Soviet Union at its worst? Is that what we're going to do? Or are we going to take a hard look at our economic structure, government system, and say what is happening where African people are being mass incarcerated, and what relationship does this have to the political prisoners who have been kept in there and continue to be kept in there unabated? And I think that the NAACP runs the risk of being obsolete if they don't take on these current issues of today. And one of the things I'm proud about Jericho is that they recognize and see the mass incarceration of our people as being a problem, and not unconnected to political imprisonment in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Well, sisters, I want to thank you both for coming on and educating my audience and educating me on these issues. Again, that is the primary reason that we put together this program, is for public education. And I believe if more of the masses were hearing about people like Brother Ed Poindexter and Mondo Wielanga, that they would be just as outraged. 'Cause I feel like we owe them a debt, okay? We owe them a debt. They put their lives on the line. Many of them were assassinated. And if we can't do anything now to get them relief and get them out of the get them off that prison plantation, then we are sorry ass people. And I'm sorry I had to use that language, but that's how I feel. If we don't do something for them, then we're sorry.
We agree, brother. We agree.
We're with you, and we thank you so much. You know, anytime you would like to have a discussion, there's many people in Jericho that are very familiar. And the other thing, it's not just Christian churches. The mosque has to take some responsibility. You know how many young Muslim brothers there are, and how many of the elders are actual Muslims. Jihad, the Imam Jalil Alameen, Malik, Maumin Kabar. We have maybe 10 or 15 political prisoners that are Muslims, and their mosque needs to step up. But it's the same situation as it is within the churches. Well, you know, we don't really want to rock the boat. Isn't there some way we can just send them a card and not stand up and be counted? So we really have to hold these people accountable and ask them to stand for their own comrades.
I agree wholeheartedly.